Athletes who thought they would be playing right here on this field this year are not. 28 Fox Creek students are being held from playing sports for their first year by the principal right here at North Augusta High School, as well as the Midland Valley principal. Jess, it may seem a little bit obvious, but you're going to want to make sure you drive carefully, slow down, look out for those crews that are going to be out here working, and go ahead and prepare yourself for delays. So you may want to leave a little bit earlier or try, another route this morning if that's possible. But the commission also looks at 6 major areas of law enforcement, some of those being administration, public policies and procedures, as well as support for the community. And after 50 years, the flag is coming down at 10 this morning, and it's definitely bringing opposing opinions. His mother tells News 12 that her son suffers from mental issues and that he's been treated for that in the past. She also says she filed assault charges against her son the same week the murder happened. So to be able to stand a trial, he must be able to understand the charges against him, have some understanding of courtroom procedure, and work with counsel so they can plan a legal strategy. Also, he has to be able to remember important facts, including motive during the crime. The thing is that they are trying to get a head count of those residents. They're currently about to load them on buses and send them to that government building on Ronald Reagan Drive. And once they do that, they should have a count of how many people are there and if they're still searching for any others. And that's where families need to go to meet up with their loved one that lives here. Now I'm going to step out so we can get another look at this fire issue. Well, Jess, Crooms is having an arraignment hearing today where he'll enter his plea. He's facing 7 counts of animal cruelty. Burke County investigators say they found 10 dogs on his property, 6 of them dead and 4 in serious condition. USC trustees spent $14.5 million on renovations, and one of them is this area right out here. Well, Danielle, the sun is finally up out here on the water. We've seen a few boaters out already this morning, but more of them will probably be making their way out here to Clarks Hill Lake. It's definitely beautiful out here. The sun is just kind of starting to come up through the trees, but DNR is out here and I'm out here with them, and now they are mandated to work this weekend, so they have a full team out here making sure you are safe out on the water. To some families who were on their way to go get their father, and they said, he walked out with no shoes on, didn't have his hearing aids, anything like that. And I think a lot of other residents are in that same state. I mean, they walked out with nothing. You can see right back here, there's actually a tree down right here in somebody's front yard, and they're not the only ones. I mean, there's a few houses like that on this road, but luckily this one is not on their house.
Tell us what you've learned.
Right, Meredith, I'm out here. The church where that shooting happened is just a few blocks down this road, but I spoke with one man who was out here in a prayer circle, members of the community just here, trying to get that power of prayer back out here. And I spoke to him, and he just is still really in disbelief that this even happened, still trying to process and wrap his mind around this. And when I asked him if there was anything that he had to say to that shooter about what happened, he said really just all he would need and want to do is forgiveness. Well, Jess, first and foremost, you have to have your taxes postmarked today or they're considered late. But if you need a little bit more time, that's okay. But the deadline to file an extension is today. 12:21 this morning in Jackson, Georgia, Kelly Gissendaner's death sentence was carried out, but it wasn't without multiple appeals. 2 of the Georgia Board of Pardons and Parole and 3 to the U.S. Supreme Court. And just last night, all 5 of those denied with no explanation. State tax returns will take information from your federal return, so straight couples can use information from one form and copy it to the next. But for same-sex couples, that doesn't work if they're still considered single in their state. Now, remember, this is the first year in South Carolina that same-sex marriage has been recognized, so it will be a little bit easier for couples out there. But again, today you can't ignore your taxes, because if you do, it could cost you 5 to 25% of what you owe. The roads are pretty slick out here. It's kind of drizzling, so make sure you're careful when you're driving, especially if you're going to be out on this area. Look out for these officers as they're here working the scene and clearing the scene. They are not directing traffic, but they're still out here working, so keep an eye out for them as well as stay safe. But again, roll over by a truck right here on I-20 westbound between mile marker 3 and 4. We're working to get more information about the condition of the people who were injured and how the accident happened. Final attempt, Gissendaner's attorney questioned the constitutionality of executing somebody who didn't carry out the murder, and that was denied an hour before her sentence was carried out. The case started just before midnight in North Augusta when an officer tried to pull over a Tahoe for a busted taillight, but instead of stopping, they took off. Now you can see the scene is clear now, but the chase ended just over in this intersection just a few hours ago after crashing into another car.